So hello, today I'm at St John the Baptist Church in Danbury in Essex, and I'd like to talk to you about the history of the church and the village. Hello. So Danbury is a large village in Essex. It's 4.5 miles from Malden and the Blackwater Estuary, and it's 5.5 miles from the city of Chelmsford. Hello. How you doing?
Checking the hedge.
Making sure it's still here.
Yeah. Clive usually does that, doesn't he?
I don't know, Clive.
Oh.
Just making a video.
Oh, you're making a video?
Yeah, making a video of the history of the church and Danbury itself. Very interesting place.
Yes, oh yes.
Are you doing some gardening or?
No, you're joking. I'm 90 years old.
Oh, you're
you're
supervising then?
Yeah, that's right, yeah. I'm going home now for lunch.
There you go.
Yeah.
You've got a nice day for it. This gentleman's doing some work. Look.
Yeah. That's only allotments he's going to, I reckon.
Oh, you've got a good location for it.
Yeah.
Hello there.
Oh, it's got a lot of history to Danbury.
Loads here, I've got loads of pages.
There's two saints or something or other buried in the church on the right hand side.
Oh, inside, the wooden effigies?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, St Clare, the St Clare family possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's most interesting.
Yeah.
You must have seen a lot here, being 90 then.
Yes, oh yes. I've been here since 1974. I haven't been here all the time.
Oh, okay.
It's nice. I mean, I used to walk a lot more. I used to work 15 to 18 miles a day, but I can only about a mile or two now.
What a day, that's a lot for a 90-year-old.
Yeah. No, I don't do it now.
Oh, I want to say.
I'm only doing a mile or so now.
Oh, I want to say.
No.
Maybe that's the secret to your longevity, eh?
I've walked the coast to coast.
Have you?
That was in 1999. 200 miles.
Oh, let's try that with myself one day.
Yeah, it's good.
As you say, coast to coast, you're talking about from Essex to...
Robin Hood's Bay to...
what, somewhere in Cornwall?
No.
Oh.
Not up north.
Oh, north.
Yeah.
Oh, like a Hadrian's Wall.
No, a bit lower down than that.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to think of a name. Robin Hood's Bay is one part, end or beginning, I can't remember.
Oh, okay.
Wainwright did it.
Oh, right, yep.
Yeah, he planned it out. But that was a fair trek, and I tried the West Highland Way, but I only got down to about 30 or 40 miles of that because I couldn't park. Well,
oh, really?
My wife was driving the car, and we went to one place, and it was on a 45-degree bank, and one of the blokes who parked there, he hadn't got room to open his doors, so he climbed out of the boot to get out.
That's bad, isn't it?
That's ludicrous.
Yeah, I'm afraid it is like that in England at times.
Yeah.
I've had situations like that. I actually saw a video in America where they actually, it was such a narrow space, they basically got out of the car and pushed the car into the space.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous, isn't it? Put a brick under the wheel.
Yeah. Ludicrous. Yeah. No, it's nice around here.
Yeah, no, it's a lovely place.
Yeah. I've been here for 46 years or something, 47.
Yeah, so you know the place fairly well then.
Oh yes. Yeah.
Right.
Right, anyway, I'll leave it to your video.
Yeah, no worries, thank you very much. Nice talking to you. So he's doing well, not for 90. So these guys have just worked on their allotments. Trying to position it on this holly bush. Bear with me. Right, so Danbury itself sits atop a hill overlooking farmland, and the elevation is 365 feet, or 111 metres. in new money. Population is 6,700, so it's quite a lot for, it's quite a big village. Historically, Danbury goes back a long way. There was an Iron Age fort built here, which became a hilltop stronghold, and fragments of pottery dating back to 500 BC were found here, most likely from the Trinovanti Celtic tribe. The Romans established a settlement here, and it's most likely there would have been a villa where the cemetery is where we are now. There was also found a Roman hypocaust, which, when I looked that up, it's a underfloor stone heating system that the Romans used. And in 2007, a Roman kiln, complete with fire pit and stoke hole, was discovered. Now, Danbury itself, the name, gets its name from the Danengis tribe, who were connected to the fort here. Now, the Danengis were actually Saxon, and they would have adapted this hill fort. The Danengis took refuge at this hill fort in the time of 991, or before that, because of the Viking invasions. We had the Battle of Malden at that time. And then if we go forward 15 years, we've got Canute the Great, and he ruled England, including this area, for almost 30 years. So it would have been Viking ownership. Now, prior to the Norman invasion of 1066, Danbury was a small and quiet settlement. It had one manor house, and a man called Erling was lord of the manor. There was one villager, 9 smallholders and 1 slave, which made up the population. And there was only 1 plough team. They had 100 pigs, and you can see it was small. Excuse me. Now, in 1086, Geoffrey de Mandeville was the all-powerful tenant-in-chief, and oh dear, and William Bourville was the lord. Oh dear. Now, going back to Geoffrey de Mandeville, he was a prominent figure during the reign of King Stephen of England, and he ended up becoming Earl of Essex in 1140. And by 1143, King Stephen had arrested Geoffrey, right, who had surrendered his castles at Pleshy and Saffron Walden. And from then on, he became a rebel to the king until his death. He died from an arrow in battle. His body was wrapped in lead, and it was entombed at Temple Church in London. Hello. All right. Now, the Sinclair family fought alongside William the Conqueror in 1066. They came over here and ended up being rewarded, and ended up with a dozen Scottish castles, including the Knights Templars Chapel at Roslin. And it was this family that would take responsibility for the church here, Danbury. Now, Danbury back in the 13th and 14th centuries would have been very busy in tile making, the industry. And before World War II, they were digging a water main here, and they discovered a perfectly preserved kiln, complete with an array of floor tiles and peg tiles for roofs. They could date them from 1280 to 1330. The site is just off of Baddow Road, and it was given national importance. Many of the churches and priories in Essex would have been adorned by their tiles from here. I even found that in 1311 Hadley Castle put an order in for some tiles, and even King John of 1400, he put an order in as well. So this would have been very busy. Danbury then went into brick and pottery production. Now the ancient manor of Danbury would become known as St Clare's Hall, and it was owned by William-de-St-clare in 1196, and all his descendants lived here, owning the hall and being connected to his church until 1554. Thomas was the last of the lords here. Now inside, 3 of the St Clare family are buried in the ground, and on top sit 3 wooden effigies, which we'll have a look at. Now I'm going to walk you through to just give you an idea of the layout of the area. So where we're walking now would be inside the fortification of the old fort. So you can imagine that there would have been Iron Age tribes, Romans, Saxons, Vikings, Normans, all walking around here using the fort. Quite fascinating. Following in people's footsteps. Yew trees, quite common. These are common English yews, and these are probably about 300 years old or less. Not so old. You can see the church there. I'm walking past the West Tower. Now this building here is the old rectory, as rectories goes. Quite a stunning one, quite a grand one actually. 3 floors. You see these have been, I think they're called coppice, is it? They've been pruned back. I don't know much about trees. So the road going that direction, very busy road, that goes to Malden. This space is the main road that goes from London to Malden, and also Chelmsford to Malden. So it does receive a lot of traffic. So it's right in front. That building is very prominent here, and it's the Griffin pub. It sits on top of the hill. It's most likely the highest pub in Essex. So it's more or less 365 feet above sea level. It dates back to the 1500 period, and it was once known as Pepper's Farm. It had 13 acres, and from 1744 it had become an inn. And I read that Samuel Cooper was the landlord then, and he brewed his own beer, and the hops would be grown in Danbury Common. Now Sir Walter Scott was a very famous novelist. He used to drink here, and he wrote Ivanhoe and Rob Roy. Now in 1914 the Griffin was run by a lady called Emily Ruding. The building had 9 bedrooms, a lounge, a terrace with spectacular views, and I believe it still has. And it would serve all the soldiers, or she would serve all the soldiers through World War I and II. Can you imagine that? She must have had some stories. Now today the pub is still a central hub for the community. And on its website I read that it's got carved beams originally from 15th century ships that would have been broken up at Malden. And the ship's timbers would have been hauled up the hill. I also read it's got a secret tunnel from behind the fireplace which goes to the church. It's one of these legends I love, and you often get legends with pubs and churches. We'll have a little look. You see just how busy it is. So it seems that whenever there was a war in Danbury would house the troops of the war. And we go back to the Napoleonic Wars between 1778 and 1812. The tents and huts were put up on Danbury Common. And over those many years, romances flourished and marriages took place. These soldiers came from all over England. They were stationed here. One soldier sadly died from excessive drinking. That tradition of drinking in the British Army still goes on. It's part of the culture. They even had an old-fashioned duel between two of the soldiers in 1808. And where they were stationed, there was a pub called the Cricketers, and it's because they basically slept on the cricket pitch. Now in World War I, once again soldiers were billeted here, and they were billeted in the pub I've just shown you. Local newspaper reported a very lively evening during Christmas Eve. The church choir also joined in, and everybody sang carols around the old piano. Just imagine it. With World War II, there was a severe manpower shortage, so the ladies of the area, in the form of the Women's Institute and other volunteers, they would bottle fruit. I actually read 130 kilograms of chutney was made, and 2.5 tonne or over 4,000 pounds of jam, thousands of tins of fruit. The children were also used for delivering and helping out. Now this church, during World War II in 1941, a 500 pound or 250 kilo bomb landed 6 metres from the church, causing major damage. Volunteers from the village, they repaired made a temporary repair, and the flag of St George, which is still flying today, was flown. There's simply too much to list here, so I've just given you a snippet of the history. But now we're on the West Tower. Now if you look, you will see indentations here and there, and they go all the way up, and these are for the many putlocks, what they call them, which is where they would build in. As they build upwards, they would leave a timber protruding and then just put the planks across, so you'd have the workmen would be standing on there, and they could just literally, it's the original scaffolding. Let's go round to the sunny side. Now this tower is 14th century. It's 12.5 feet square. Built in 3 stages. It's got an embattled parapet on the top and a spire on the top, which you can see there. If you look at the top piece, it's about 6 meters. That was replaced. So what happened was, this church had a major fire in 1402, destroyed the spire. It was rebuilt in 1638, and in 1749, as if it hadn't suffered enough, it was struck by lightning, and that's where the top 6 meters was replaced. You can see that. You can see that by the lead. Now if we have a little look on the sunny side, this is the south side, you can see the putlocks. So you can actually see where the board would have run across. And you could just imagine the workmen using that. And I would dare say that over time they would knock that out and reuse those positions, like here for example. It wouldn't be hard to take out this masonry. Although nowadays you'd have scaffolding. This is what we call iron pudding stone. It's millions of years old. Ended in the Ice Age period. You can see it all fused together. Now we should go into the church itself. Let's just have a look on the west side. So these lovely old churches that are open, so please come and visit. Just let the phones eject. So you can see some lovely wood carvings there. And you have the stairs going up to the bell tower, or the belfry. They do bell ringing practice here. We have the notice board there. We're now into the nave itself. Now the nave is 39.5 feet by 20 feet. It's 13th and 14th century arcades. So these columns on either side, the piers. The roof was rebuilt after the 1402 fire, but also it's had major renovations in the Victorian period. Now these 4 pews here are 15th century. These are the oldest pews in the church. They've got poppy heads. You've got the beasts there. You can see how they're worn, where people have been using them as a handrail. I think this one's been added. We're going to go into the north aisle. Now the north aisle is the oldest part of the church. It's 16 feet wide. Let me go back here. You see the original column base there. Seriously old. Let me go here. There. 16 feet wide. It's the earliest part of the church. Built by the St Clare family, most likely by William-de-St-clare the St Clare of 1190, or maybe one of his children. It's highly likely there would have been a Saxon church here beforehand. They extended this part of the church in 1230. Also, this north aisle was their private chapel. You can see all, probably put their holy water on their faces as they come in. Look at these poppy heads and the pews, how they're all carved. Fascinating. So these pews here are carved from the 19th century onwards. You've got various memorials which were crossing over. This one here is a 1430s. This is the oldest one I've found in the church. You can see the brasswork's been removed. Now, over here, we have what's believed to be St Clare knights, who possibly were on crusade. I believe possibly a couple of them were, maybe all of them. These oak effigies are obviously in wood, and they show a knight in chainmail. The surcoat is just below the knees, and you can see that the legs are crossed, and the feet go onto a line. Now, when the legs are crossed, there's all different variations. It's said that they're either a church builder or they went on crusade. It's possible they went and did both. This one is drawing a sword. You can see the way the artists have got the arm, the elbow. Fascinating. Now the next effigy is very similar, but sheathing let's have a look at that lovely, beautiful flowers there from the Easter period. And again, let's have some more pew carvings. Lovely elephant there. Angel there. They're all individuals, quite incredible. This effigy here, one of the knights, and this one is sheathing the sword, or actually it might be a dagger, it might not be a sword. There's obviously significance for that, but there's a lot of argument about what it exactly means. But you can see the detail, where the spurs would go, and you can see wood damage there from beetles. And again, if you look at the carving here, that could well be, I would say that could have been King Stephen. I just wanted to get this. Quite incredible. Now in 1867, the Royal Antiquarian Society suggested these effigies should be moved to Westminster Abbey, but the church authorities were not having it, rightly so. Now then, in the floor here we have some ancient memorials. This one is from 1635. It's Edward Mild May. In this year, Rubens, the artist, paints the ceiling at the banqueting hall in Whitechapel in London. The first general post office opens. This one here, 1613. This is a Humphrey Mildmay. I read the first shipment of tobacco from Jamestown in America came to England, docked in England. And here we have the 1432 slab with the brasses have been removed. Also in this year, fire destroys London's Globe Theatre during the performance of William Shakespeare's Henry VIII. Is another Mildmay tomb. Great carving. Now we're going to make our way to the chancel, which measures 32 feet by 20 feet, and it is, let me see, late 13th century. So again, we're passing magnificent carvings. a lot of wood in here. I mean, you've got a lovely oak pulpit. These are the choir pews. Now that east window up ahead is only from 1955. That replaces the original window which was blown out by that bomb in 1941. You can see that. The original window was for a bishop, Charlton, who was Bishop of Rochester. He used to live here. And on the wall here, on the south wall, north wall, we have memorials. Some of these are rectors that are connected to the powerful Fitzwater family. These lovely chairs are Flemish. They're 17th century. You can see Jesus there. These would be coming over on the ship. Got lions carved in there. Fantastic. And this is the vestry here. This is where the meetings will take place. There's some sort of ancient stonework there, which I'm not sure what's going on. Some sort of steps going up to nowhere, so it's obviously been bricked off. South Chapel. This is said to be modern. That could be a couple of 100 years old. Got a lovely marble memorial there, which is just exquisite. And in the floor, more memorials. This was 1750 and so on, and there's a really old one there under the filing cabinet. You can see so many families connected to this church. Now the organ, which I had the pleasure of hearing one day when I was here before, is from 1861. Look at these, quite fascinating, aren't they? Designed to be a little bit uncomfortable. See that? They're not flush, so you can't really lean back and keep you sort of awake. But anyway, lovely old organ, 1861. Now these pipes are fairly recent, but the reason is it was damaged from the bomb blast, which was described as a crazy sight of twisted pipes and lead. Right, now we shall make our way. Love these tiles as well. Bit of damage there. These may well have come from this village. These are quite beautiful the way these are carved. I think they're called a Langton. Some of these are made in brass. This is like an oak one, I believe, or another type of wood. But just look at the detail. It's not so old, 1900. And again, lovely flowers that the ladies here will have, from the flower arranging group, I guess, would have put together. It's very nice for the Easter period. Now we're entering the south aisle, which has a third effigy on the south wall. And more of these lovely pews, which were designed by Gilbert Scott. You've got owls, donkeys, eagles, dragons, sheep, lambs, from around 1866. Some of these are more recent. I think they've added as time's gone on. This is a copy, so it's not an original Raphael. Just trying to find my paperwork. Yeah, it's Granduca Madonna. It's quite nice. And we go over to the last night. Whether he was a crusader, we're not sure. This one is in prayer. It's most likely to be a St Clare family. And it looks like the sword's been broken off, but it is sheathed. But it's complete in the scabbard. And again, he's resting on a lion. Now, some people say this is a dog, but it's obviously a lion. Although some of them do look like dogs, and you can see the folds of his cloak. You can see the beetles had a go at it. Incredibly rare. And that talks about the bomb damage, which is quite significant. There's actually a picture of it, and it is quite shocking. If you look up there, you can see where the ceiling has been repaired, and it's got different periods of repair. That's probably from the fire damage or the bomb damage, hard to say. There's a memorial on here for a colonel and a brigadier as well, quite senior in the army. We have a very nice font with the step for the priest. And again, this is a Victorian period top. Look at the carving of that. Just so much love been put into that. And if you follow it up, you can see a pulley system like with a counterweight. No cheating, even that's got some, looks like ironwork to me. It's a lump of iron, and above it, you've got a very ornate bracket. Okay, we should go outside. Now then. There you go. Church has got 8 bells. I didn't get all the details of all the other bell makers, but we've got the Miles Gray family involved in 2 of the bells, a 1642 and a 1622. Now Miles Gray the first he was known as the Prince of Bell Founders, and he cast bells in Colchester, and he would have cast the 1622. Now his son was also Miles Gray the second, it's known as. He cast the 1642, and that would have been in Saffron Walden. His father employed him as an agent, so he would be around getting business for the foundry. But Miles II didn't cast any further bells after this period. It could well be because of the English Civil War, and also his father left his sisters and himself only 1 shilling in the will, last will and testament, so there could have been a bit of animosity there. You can see Victorian renovations there. If you look, you can see parts of the shrapnel from the bomb. You can see it quite clearly there. In fact, everywhere you look, it's ricocheted. It's quite easy to see. I believe the gravestones, I think might have been around here, they were all taken out. vestry's got, not vestry, Chancel's got quite a modern feel to it. Sorry, I've got this wrong. This is actually the South Chapel, I believe, and this is modern. You can see that. You can see clean lines, everything's very clean about it. But even so, it's still done in a tasteful manner. So we'll go around. So this is the most recent building. So today St John the Baptist Church is a Church of England church, and it carries out baptisms, weddings and funerals. Also they've got a choir and a bell ringing group. And they're very friendly folk. So if you're in the area, just pop in and have a look. Here's back around to the original part, which is connected to the St Clare family. Well, I believe it is. And if you need proof of the Romans are here, there you go. And Roman brick there. And the original putlocks. And you can see where the mason has hand hewn this. It's fascinating. It's a more recent porch. Just like to end by talking about these clocks. They've not had much luck with the clocks on this church. They've replaced them. Let me go a little bit closer. There's been 3 clocks fitted to the west tower: 1605, 1718 and 1854. And it was recorded, you can see the fit, but the indentation beneath it. It was recorded that the then Lord Bishop paid an extra £10 for a second clock face to be fitted, and that would not cooperate, so he had that removed. Oh, anyway, I hope you enjoyed that, and thank you very much.